Hannah Snell, the 18th century British female soldier who disguised herself as a man and fooled the military. In the rigid patriarchal world of 18th century Britain, where women were confined to domestic roles and denied agency in public life, one woman dared to break every rule. Hannah Snell, born in 1723 in Worcester, England, became a legend not for conforming to society's expectations, but for defying them in the most audacious way imaginable. Disguising herself as a man, she infiltrated the British military, serving as a soldier and marine, and managed to deceive her comrades, officers, and even the brutal machinery of war for years. Her story, a blend of gritty determination, cunning deception, and sheer bravery, challenges our understanding of gender, identity, and courage. This essay explores Hannah Snell's extraordinary life, her motivations, her military adventures, the methods she used to maintain her ruse, and the lasting impact of her tale as a symbol of defiance against a world that sought to limit her. Hannah Snell entered the world on April 23, 1723, in the modest town of Worcester, the daughter of Samuel Snell, a hosier and dyer, and his second wife, Mary Williams. She was the 8th of 9 children in a family that enjoyed relative comfort thanks to an inheritance from her grandfather, a military man himself. Growing up in a household with military roots, her brother served as a foot soldier, Hannah was no stranger to tales of valor and adventure. As a child, she earned the nickname Young Amazon Snell from neighbors, a nod to her penchant for playing soldier with friends, often dressing in boys' clothes. Though she learned to read, writing eluded her, a common limitation for girls of her time, even in a middle-class family. Her early years were marked by loss and upheaval. By age 17, both her parents had died, leaving her orphaned. In 1740, she moved to London to live with her older sister, Susanna, and her brother-in-law, James Gray, in the gritty docklands of Wapping. This move set the stage for her transformation. In 1744, at 20, she married James Sums, a Dutch sailor, but the union was far from idyllic. Sums was a scoundrel, abusive, unfaithful, and prone to squandering her possessions to fund his vices. When Hannah became pregnant, he abandoned her, leaving her to bear their daughter Susanna alone. Tragically, the child died within a year, plunging Hannah into grief and poverty. It was then, in 1745, that she learned Sums had been executed for murder, a revelation that might have crushed a lesser spirit. Instead, it ignited something within her, a desire for escape, purpose, or perhaps revenge. With her husband dead, her child gone, and her prospects dim, Hannah made a radical choice. Borrowing a suit of clothes from her brother-in-law, James Gray, she assumed his identity and set out to forge a new life. Why she chose this path is a matter of speculation. Some accounts suggest she initially sought her missing husband, believing he'd been pressed into military service. Others argue it was a bid for adventure or survival in a world that offered women few options beyond marriage or servitude. Whatever her reasons, in 1745, at age 22, Hannah Snell vanished, and James Gray, soldier, was born. Her first foray into the military was with the 6th Regiment of Foot, under General John Guise, during the Jacobite Rising in Scotland. Joining in Coventry, she underwent basic training, mastering military drills with a skill that belied her inexperience. Yet her time here was short-lived. According to her later account, a sergeant accused her of neglecting duties, possibly after she rebuffed his advances, and sentenced her to 600 lashes, of which she endured 500 tied to Carlisle Castle's gate. Miraculously, she concealed her gender, perhaps due to her small stature and the way her arms were bound. Whether this tale is true or an embellishment by her biographer remains debated, but it underscores her resilience. Fearing exposure after a neighbor from Wapping joined the regiment, she deserted, fleeing south to Portsmouth. There, in 1747, she enlisted with the Royal Marines aboard the sloop HMS Swallow, part of a fleet bound for the East Indies under Admiral Edward Boscawen. As a cabin boy and later a Marine, she embarked on a journey that would test her disguise and her mettle. The Swallow was a cramped, rough vessel, conditions that might have exposed her. But Hannah adapted. Her lack of beard explained away as youthfulness, earning her the nickname Molly among crewmates who never suspected the truth. Hannah's military career reached its zenith in India, where she fought in the War of the Austrian Succession against the French. In 1748, she participated in the Siege of Pondicherry, a grueling campaign to capture the French colony. Here she proved herself a capable soldier, firing 37 shots in battle and enduring horrific injuries: 6 musket balls in her right leg, 5 in her left, and 1 in her groin. The groin wound posed the greatest threat to her secret. Refusing a regimental surgeon, she reportedly enlisted a local woman's help or, in some versions, extracted the bullet herself with a knife and a mirror, stitching the wound to avoid discovery. This act of self-reliance, whether fact or legend, speaks to her extraordinary grit. She continued serving, later transferring to HMS Tartar in Eltham, sailing across the East Indies and enduring the harsh realities of naval life, disease, storms, and combat. For nearly 3 years, she lived as James Gray, sharing bunks, meals, and battles with men who never questioned her identity. Her ability to maintain this ruse in such close quarters is a testament to her cunning, physical discipline, and perhaps the era's lack of hygiene, which masked telltale signs like menstruation or the absence of shaving. In 1750, after her unit returned to Britain, Hannah's masquerade came to an end, not by force, but by choice. Docking in Portsmouth and traveling to London, she stunned her shipmates in a tavern on June 2nd, declaring, "Gentlemen, I am as much a woman as my mother ever was, and my real name is Hannah Snell." The reaction was one of shock, then admiration. Her comrades, far from condemning her, urged her to petition the Duke of Cumberland, head of the army, for a pension. She did so, presenting her case with the confidence of a seasoned soldier. Her story spread like wildfire through London's taverns and coffeehouses, fueled by a public hungry for tales of daring. Publisher Robert Walker seized the opportunity, releasing The Female Soldier. Or, The Surprising Life and Adventures of Hannah Snell in 1750, a sensationalized account based on her testimony. She took to the stage, performing military drills and singing patriotic songs in her uniform, her portraits painted by 3 artists capturing her in masculine glory. The Royal Hospital Chelsea, recognizing her service, granted her a pension, a rare honor for a woman, starting at 18 £18 annually, later increased in 1785. Overnight, Hannah became a celebrity, her tale blurring the lines between truth and myth. With her pension secured, Hannah settled in Wapping, where she briefly ran a pub, variously called the Female Warrior or the Widow in Masquerade. Her fame brought prosperity, but stability eluded her. She married twice more, raising 2 sons, yet her later years were marred by hardship. By 1791, her mental health declined, and she was admitted to Bethlehem Hospital, Bedlam, where she died on February 8, 1792, at age 68. She was buried in the Old Soldiers' Burial Ground at Chelsea, a fitting resting place for a woman who lived as a warrior. Hannah's success in deceiving the military hinged on several factors. Physically, her small frame and lack of facial hair aided her disguise, traits she explained away with youth or bravado. She adopted a deep voice, swaggering gait, and soldierly demeanor, blending seamlessly into the rough male world of the barracks and battlefield. The era's rudimentary medical care and lax hygiene, soldiers rarely bathed or changed clothes, helped conceal her gender. Menstruation, a potential giveaway, was likely managed with rags or suppressed by malnutrition and stress, common among soldiers. Her mental fortitude was equally crucial. Living as James Gray required constant vigilance, every word, gesture, and interaction a performance. She endured floggings, wounds, and the camaraderie of war without breaking character, a feat of psychological endurance as remarkable as her physical feats. The military, too, played a role in her success. Its focus on discipline and obedience over scrutiny of identity allowed her to slip through the cracks. Hannah's story unfolds against the backdrop of 18th century Britain, a time of imperial expansion and rigid gender norms. Women were barred from military service, relegated to roles as wives, mothers, or servants. Yet the century saw others like her, women who donned male garb to escape confinement or pursue adventure. Unlike many, Hannah revealed her secret and profited from it, turning her deception into a public triumph. Her tale resonated in an era of growing literacy and fascination with the exotic, Her biography a bestseller that fed into Enlightenment debates about gender and capability. Her military service coincided with Britain's global ambitions. From the Jacobite suppression to colonial wars in India. As James Gray, she contributed to these efforts, her presence a hidden subversion of the masculine monopoly on warfare. Her pension from the Royal Hospital Chelsea, though modest, marked a rare acknowledgement of female valor, hinting at cracks in the patriarchal edifice. Hannah Snell's life challenges us to reconsider history's margins. Was she a feminist pioneer, a desperate survivor, or simply a thrill-seeker? Her motives remain elusive, but her achievements are undeniable. She fooled an institution built on hierarchy and exclusion, proving that courage and competence transcend gender. Her story, embellished though it may be, inspired plays, songs, and later feminist narratives, cementing her as a folk hero. Today, a blue plaque marks her childhood home in Worcester, and her tale is revisited in books like Hannah Snell, The Secret Life of a Female Marine. She stands as a testament to human adaptability, proof that identity can be a tool, not a cage. In fooling the military, she didn't just survive, she thrived, turning a private act of defiance into a public spectacle that still captivates us centuries later. Hannah Snell's life raises questions without easy answers. How did she endure the psychological toll of her double existence? What drove her to reveal herself after years of secrecy? Her biography, penned by Walker, blends fact with flourish, leaving us to sift truth from tale. Yet the core of her story, her ability to infiltrate and excel in a male domain, remains unassailable. She was no saint or martyr, but a complex figure, bold, resourceful, and unapologetic. In an age that sought to define her by her sex, Hannah redefined herself by her actions. She fooled the military not just with a suit and a name, but with a spirit that refused to be bound. Her legacy endures not in statues or grand monuments, but in the quiet power of her example. A reminder that even in the darkest corners of history, individuals can carve their own paths, defying the odds and the expectations of their time. If you enjoyed this story and want more incredible historical tales, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support keeps us bringing you more amazing content. Stay tuned for more.